9 years ago, in a quiet studio in Japan, one of the greatest animators of all time was shown a glimpse of the future. Not a flying car, but a piece of AI animation. The animator watched in silence as the program flopped around in a 3D space. Then he said, "I feel this is an insult to life itself. I feel like we are nearing the end of times." This is Hayao Miyazaki. He is the founder of the well-renowned animation workshop Studio Ghibli. And recently, his art was trending all over the internet. But it wasn't actually his art. Instead, a new update with ChatGPT allowed users to turn themselves into a Ghibli-inspired character. And while this is really impressive technology, it puts into question, is AI replacing creativity? And why of all skills AI could replace, why start with art? For people who enjoy creating things digitally, AI can be a worrying topic. When most people think of AI-generated art, they imagine typing a prompt into an image generator and getting a detailed picture in seconds. And while that is one version, AI art is much broader than just 2D images. At its core, AI-generated art is any type of creative work that's heavily influenced or created by artificial intelligence. This includes image generators, music composed by AI models, deepfake videos, AI voice acting, and full scripts or stories written by language models like ChatGPT. If you've been on social media lately, you've probably seen some version of this. You might have even come across a person who wasn't even real. This person does not exist, but if you're doom scrolling, you might not even notice that this person is fake unless you're actively looking. Or take this cosplayer for example. At first glance, you might assume they spent hours, maybe even months handcrafting their costumes. But in reality, most of these cosplays weren't sewn or built by hand. They were either AI enhanced or entirely AI generated. In just 2 months, this creator was able to replicate cosplay videos that would take people hundreds of hours to do. And while he kind of cheated, I still think there's some soul into the art he made. He obviously puts a lot of effort into making his content, but it's not as much time and effort as someone who would handcraft the cosplays themselves. But this puts into perspective that if AI gets better to a point where it could produce music, images, and stories that feel creative, will we still place value in the process behind the art? Or are we okay with art that only feels meaningful? Because when we talk about creativity, we're not just talking about skill or output. We're talking about the act of turning emotion and experience into something that feels meaningful. Real creativity is deeply personal. It's the small choices that only the creator would make. But AI doesn't go through that. AI systems like GPT don't create from emotion or intention. They generate content by identifying patterns in massive datasets and then predicting what comes next. But every year, the results start to look better and better. If AI keeps getting better at mimicking creativity, will we still value the real thing? Or will we settle for something that just feels close enough? After all, as companies look to maximize profits, entire teams of graphic designers and visual effect artists will be downsized. I mean, it doesn't take a dozen people to write in a few prompts and then do a few touch-ups. So it's not crazy to see a future where media companies won't need large teams to produce a lot of their content. And most people seem okay with that. A lot of educational content online is actually AI generated, and no one seems to care because it gets the job done. Even big brands are looking to make the switch. Last winter, Coca-Cola released an AI-generated ad instead of hiring a team of animators. It was really bad. But it just shows how much big corporations actually care about the process of creating art. Which is concerning, because for most of human history, creation has been a reflection of us. We sing when we're heartbroken, we act because we want to be understood, and we tell stories to make sense of the world around us. But AI doesn't feel pain. AI can imitate that feeling, but it doesn't understand it. And as it gets better at crafting content that sounds and feels real, we start to drift into a strange space, where the illusion of emotion might actually just be as good as a real thing. It feels like as content becomes more realistic, we're getting closer to a world where we're not able to distinguish if what you're watching is a real person or not. Now you could have a full-on conversation with an AI and it feels exactly like you're talking to a real person. And maybe that's what makes this moment so weird. Not that AI is replacing creativity, but that it's replacing the feeling of human connection. The flaws in the line delivery that makes someone feel honest, and the imperfections that tell you that a real person made this. But if a machine can now replicate those feelings, do we still care who made it? Or do we slowly stop asking? Throughout history, we turn to art to understand what it means to be human. From cave paintings to stage plays, from folk songs to modern media, storytelling has always been how we process emotion. Which is why it feels strange to think that AI will be able to replicate this for us. That in 10 years, AI will be able to curate individual content that's only exclusive to us. Ironically, art is the last thing that we wanted to be replaced. AI was supposed to give us more time to do the things we love, not to automate them. Which makes you wonder, why are these AI companies so focused on replacing art in the first place? Why can't they just start with doing my taxes? Why target the very thing that makes us feel connected with others? And I think the simple answer is that art is everywhere. It's in our TV shows, our favorite songs, and the games we play. Art is emotional, recognizable, and it's how we do marketing. When we create art, we express our identity. And when you control the tools that create that art, you're able to influence culture. For instance, when Korean pop was seen as a way to increase South Korea's influence overseas, the government stepped in to help accelerate and fund the industry to what it is now. Now Korean culture is more broadly recognized around the world, and more people are learning the language, and more people are visiting the country. So if a government can use art to expand global influence and create a national identity, what happens when corporations start doing the same, but with algorithms? And that's exactly what we're seeing with AI. In the age of information where everything we see from music to images is optimized for engagement, much of digital art isn't about expression, but conversion. In just an hour of showcasing that ChatGPT could do Studio Ghibli art, OpenAI gained 1 million new users, which just shows how much of an appeal AI art is to the masses. And when these companies control the tools people use to create, businesses will turn to AI because it's faster, cheaper, and more scalable. And with the rise of virtual worlds and metaverse environments, the need for fast, mass-produced digital art is only growing. Companies want to build immersive spaces, and AI can generate characters, backdrops, and assets in literally seconds. It's also easier to push for AI in creative fields because the legal risks are low. Unlike industries like medicine, there's little regulation around automating creativity. Art is often treated as a non-essential, which makes it an easy target. If someone makes a bad piece of art, no one cares and no one gets harmed. However, even after saying all this, I'm optimistic to believe that AI is not going to replace creativity or entertainment. It will lower production costs and speed up workflows, and yes, that will lead to job losses, especially in areas where companies see efficiency is more valuable than artistry. But that doesn't mean the creative world will ever disappear. If anything, AI will remain as a powerful collaborator, helping artists brainstorm ideas, generate concepts, or handle tedious parts of the creative process. It will assist with research and draft new dialogues. And if used well, it can unlock new forms of storytelling, new tools for expression, and new ways for people to participate in art who have been locked out before. And it really is just a new tool. Like a calculator that automates math but does not replace a mathematician, AI won't replace the artist. As someone who likes to video edit, I enjoy the fact I don't have to do manual film cutting, development, or loading. And there are people who will do development for the fun of it. People will still paint, they'll still write songs, they'll still perform on stage, and they'll still go to cosplay conventions to show off their crafts. And ironically, as AI content becomes more common, the value of human connection might actually increase. We've seen this pattern before. When photography became mainstream, many predicted the death of painting. But instead of disappearing, painting evolved into new forms, like impressionism and abstract art. And AI might become a new form of entertainment entirely, where you could step into a virtual world and the environment around you is generated in real time based on your imagination. A space where stories aren't just watched, but experienced. So the challenge isn't whether we should use AI, but how we use it and what we choose to value alongside it. But who knows? The future will only tell. Anyways, that's all I got for a video. If you guys enjoyed, please like, subscribe. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, if you have any comments on, like, if I got anything wrong, please call me out for it. I'm always open to new ideas. Anyways, that's it. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.